Whenever you're ready, Brooklyn.
I call to order the meeting of the Brookings City Council for Monday, May 11th, 2026 at 5:30 p.m. Will you please rise for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please call the roll.
Councilor Malmberg.
Here.
Councilor Jalata.
Here.
Councilor Martin.
Here.
Councilor Bolton. Here. Mayor Freda.
Here.
We have a quorum.
We'll proceed on to item D. 1, Safe Boating Week Proclamation. For over 100 million Americans, boating continues to be a popular recreational activity. From coast to coast and everywhere in between, people are taking to the water and enjoying time together, boating, sailing, paddling, and fishing. During National Safe Boating Week, the U.S. Coast Guard and its federal, state, and local safe boating partners encourage all boaters to explore and enjoy America's beautiful waters responsibly. Safe boating begins with preparation. The Coast Guard estimates that human error accounts for most boating accidents, and that a life jacket could prevent nearly 75% of boating fatalities. Through basic boating safety procedures, carrying life-saving emergency distress and communications equipment, wearing life jackets, attending safe boating courses, participating in free boat safety checks, and staying sober while navigating, we can ensure boaters on America's coastal, inland, and offshore waters stay safe throughout the season. National Safe Boating Week is observed to bring attention to important life-saving tips for recreational boaters so that they can have a safe, more fun experience out on the water throughout the year. Whereas on average, 650 people die each year in boating-related accidents in the U.S., 75% of these fatalities caused by drowning, and whereas the majority of these accidents are caused by human error and poor judgment and not by the boat, equipment, or environmental factors, and whereas a significant number of boaters who lose their lives by drowning each year would be alive today had they worn their life jackets, I now therefore that I, Phoebe Pareda, Mayor of the City of Brookings, do hereby proclaim the week of May 16th to the 23rd, 2026 to be Safe Boating Week. Be it further resolved, in witness hereof, I, Phoebe Pareda, do hereto set my hand and cause the official seal of the City of Brookings, Oregon to be affixed this 11th day of May, 2026. Some representatives here. Did you want to say a few words before we take a photograph?
Yes.
Thank you.
No, thank you. Commander. Anyway, our mission all year round is safe boating, but this particular week is where we really stress. And you heard the fatalities, and it goes back to wearing the life jacket. We promote boating safety through public appearances, through our vessel safety checks, and that is our mission to the Coast Guard. We are just the auxiliary, but we're an important part of the Coast Guard.
I have allergies, excuse my voice. We are doing vessel safety checks in the harbor weekends, and if anybody needs one, they can call the station, and we'll get to them during the week also.
They're free to the public. We want to keep you safe on the water. So
wonderful. Thanks for providing that information. Okay.
Take a
picture.
Would one of you like to hold this, or?
or would you like? Yeah.
We can have a hamburger.
I got this.
Oh, okay.
Well, have him take. Do you want to?
I'll use yours too. I'll take a cup.
Okay, thank you.
You guys, for the service that you
All right. 1, 2, 1, 2. Hold on, stand section. All right. Uh-oh. It disappeared as soon as I picked it up. Where's it go? There it is. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. There we go.
Thank you. Thank you. Nice to meet you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, we will continue on and move to item E, oral request and communications from the audience. Before we begin, I will read this public comment notification. This is the time for public comment if you have turned in the public comment form to the city recorder. Comments are limited to 5 minutes, and there's a timer here for your convenience, so you can monitor your time. This is not time for discussion. Council is unable to provide an immediate answer or response. The city manager may direct staff to follow up with you regarding your comment or questions if provided with contact information on the form. Before you make your comment, please state your name and your address for the record. And we'll begin in the order that I've received them. Number 1, regarding airport director, quick introduction to council, Sean Rosenthal?
Yes. Yeah, Sean Rosenthal, Florida Coast Regional Airport Authority. And I just wanted to come by, introduce myself, and been there about 8 months now, and you know, we're doing a lot of work, and I wanted to be able to communicate with you guys and keep you apprised of that kind of work. And also, over half, well, at least half of our license plates and our parking is Oregon. And I want to make sure that you guys are included in the decision-making going forward with the airline and with the destinations. So what I'd like to do is come back, you know, and do some presentations at least, you know, a few times a year, more if you want, less if you want. And yeah, pleasure to meet you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So right now, you still have the flights to, is it Arcata and Oakland and is it Hawthorne?
I'm sorry, I got a bad ear.
The flights out of Crescent City right now, it's Arcata, Oakland, and Hawthorne?
We go to Oakland every day, to and from, and we go to Hawthorne Thursdays and Sundays only right now. But there could be some changes with that, with changes of aircraft, with advanced air, and they are looking at Portland, but we're going to do a very intensive poll with the public to make sure that we're going where we need to go. And I wish this was kind of a last minute thing, just swinging by for tonight. I was in Brookings, but I would also just say that we do have some other projects, such as some fencing projects, some RSA projects that it'd be good for you guys to know about. Runway projects, grants, and so really we could go over any kind of things that you would like to, you know, learn about.
Thank you.
Sean's been doing a great job. As you know, I sit on the Bachler board with Sean, and he recently took over as airport director, and he's been very good at communicating and answering any questions and concerns that I have. And we had our meeting just this week, and I asked Sean, hey, next time you have an opportunity, swing by and talk to the folks, and he's going to be able to communicate a lot more effectively all of the different things that the airport is working on, more so than what I did. And he recently did a PowerPoint presentation of some of the items that we're working on, and hopefully has an opportunity to come and share some of that with you guys in the future. So.
Yeah, I think we'll all want an update and have that. Please connect with the city manager, and we'll get something scheduled as soon as we can to have a full presentation. Thank you for making the introduction. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next comment card here is from Ken Cunningham. Questions on Social Security bar.
We've here at the Commissioners and the Brookings City Council probably over the last 4 years. Everybody on City Council and Commissioners realize there's a big problem with drugs. People tearing up the bar at all times. Everybody recognizes a problem, and nobody's moving to do a solution. And none of us property owners want to shut the bar off. We just want to stop the nonsense. The tearing up to the bar, the drug activity has to stop. And I have a question, where's the cameras that we've been promised? Why don't you put up a gate? You have a patrolman that goes down there every morning. You can put an automatic opening and closing gate. There are solutions to this problem, and it's time that either this Brookings City Council and the Commissioners get together and help us solve the problem before we turn to litigation that's going to cost everybody money. So I'm just asking for some information. I'm asking you guys for your help. And we're not trying to shut the bar off to anybody. We just want to stop the tearing up the bar, tearing up the vegetation, the dumping, the drug activity. It's a problem. So, thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Mike. There's no last name provided. Hopefully, there's only one here for Social Security bar.
Yep. All right. So I have some of the same concerns. City of Brookings entrance, and it's interesting. It's a safe boating week, so we are dealing with the river. The entrance to Social Security car. My name is Mike. I own 98940 North Bank Checko River Road, and concerned with my private property rights. Now, Oregon, on my deed, I understand that my property goes to the thread of the river. Now, since then, I understand that the state has taken and made it a navigable waterway, and it goes up to the high water mark. Now, they've issued a map here of where that is, and it leaves a large strip of land that is private property on Social Security. So, I don't know if you guys want to look at these, but this is a pretty good one, a Social Security bar, and it shows where your property comes in, where our private property is in yellow, and that's what we're concerned about, the private property rights. I'm one of 12 owners on Social Security bar. You're one of them. There's 11 others that are concerned about all these things. So we have a public trust doctrine. The public has the right to use the beds and banks of Oregon-owned waterways to the line of ordinary high water. Now that's what this one map shows. That shows us a lot of area that is private still. So this boundary line is typically where shrubs, trees, and other plants begin to grow. The land above the line of ordinary high water belongs to the adjacent landowner. An adjacent property deed will sometimes include a bed or bank, but the public still has the right to use the beds and banks of Oregon-owned waterways to the line of ordinary high water. Okay? The public does not have the right to go above the line of ordinary high water onto private property, except briefly when necessary to the lawful use of the waterway, for example, going around an obstruction, retrieving a paddle, or providing first aid. So, you know, it's hard to deal with this every day. I just dealt with it today. I was talking to one of my neighbors, I was on the phone, and mentioned to him that he's on private property. And you would not believe the tirade I got. And this happens every day. We have burnouts, people doing all kinds of nasty stuff out there. It's hard to deal with. You know I bought there, and I have to expect some of that. But I also have private property, and it should be handled. You know, it should be respected. The issues with your entrance. You know, you pull up into the entrance of your property there to allow people onto Social Security. The sign. Have you seen it lately? It's trashed. It doesn't communicate to the people like it should. I noticed there's new pole signs that says no dumping, no overnight parking, 5-mile zone. When you're in that parking lot, it feels like it pertains just to that parking lot. It feels like it's Wild West once it gets down on the bar. So, you know, something has to change. You know, whether it's like the telephone poles that I heard were for cameras, a gate. That would be awesome. You know, we have 12 property owners here. Maybe we should be voting on it, you know, if maybe have it open 3 days a week. I don't know, there's got to be a solution. You know, we don't have the personnel. Brookings washes their hands of it, where you go to the sheriff, he's supposed to handle it, and we don't have personnel to handle it properly. We call, they say, oh, we don't have anybody to go down there. We don't have anybody on service tonight. Now, my daughter got her back window blown out on North Bank Road, and it doesn't have anything to do with Social Security, but once again, there weren't any sheriff to help assist her, you know? So I'm just saying, if we don't have the resources to be able to maintain the quorum down at Social Security, then maybe we should put a gate in and give them the freedom to take care of their business elsewhere like they should be. You know, we don't need all this extra grief down at the bar. That's all I got.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Next is SS Ben, I think it says Ben, or I'm sorry, Social Security Bar, Fred Simo? Simo?
Fred Simon, 96886 North Bank Chapel River Road. The Social Security Bar, like everybody's there saying, put up automatic gate, opens, closes. I came in the other night from Washington, D.C. at midnight, got a shower to go to bed. At 1 o'clock in the morning, they were out there partying, tearing up the river bar. Who do I call? Call the sheriff? No answer. Call the city? No answer. I wish I had all your guys' numbers. I'll call you and wake you up and you can celebrate with me. But we listen to this until they shut up. It's getting old. You know, we got to work together on this problem. I feel I own the high mead watermark. Now, you talk to some people, they say it's 12 feet. Everything I see is 2 feet. So basically, where the grass grows and there's poplar trees growing on the other side of where everybody's driving, I feel I own that. But for owning it, I feel the general public can use it because they always use the bar. I don't want to knock the fishermen out. There's kids down there playing on the weekends, having fun with their parents. I enjoy that stuff. But I don't like the people spinning donuts, partying all night, dropping trash. 2 years ago, I picked up a half of a 12-foot dump trailer load of garbage off of that. This year, I was going to go to get it. And I thought, who cares about it? If I go pick it up, who's going to say, hey, thanks? Nobody. I'll just let it go to the ocean like everybody else does. Is that right? No, we don't need this stuff on the river. You know, if we could work together and solve this problem, these people trashing it. There's homeless underneath the bushes. We have to run them out because the cops won't. Us landowners, got to go over there and deal with all this stuff. The garbage. There's a group of kids, Twisted Tea. They're out there every weekend. It's either Friday or Saturday night, and they're out there until midnight. They leave their Twisted Teas. And it's just getting old. I don't think one of you guys want to live like that, do you? No. So we're just asking for a little support. I'd like to see automatic gate open certain time, close certain time. If you get caught behind it camping for the night, somebody needs to find them. Our lovely sheriff found 4 kids, tents. Went up and told them, you can't camp here. That's after they've been there for 3 nights. So they left the 4th day. They said, we're leaving in the morning. So he left them alone. The 4th day when they left, 4 garbage bags of garbage left on the river. The sheriff should have ran them out that night. So this is why we're here. We want to solve this problem. We threw rocks across it. Oregon State Land came and said none to us. Locals all got pissed. I don't want to go that way again. See what I'm saying? I want people to enjoy it. I love the fishermen. I love the family people. I don't like the destruction. There's ponds when the water gets so high, they fill up with water. And my wife and Mike, we go through there and try to get the baby steelhead salmon, put them back in the river. Well, the kids went through there before we got there and they killed them. I got a picture on my phone of dead fish, little smells. Is that helping our community for fishing? No. We could have saved them, that's 100 more fish. Maybe we got 10 of them back in 3 years. But we lost them. So we just need some help. And you got my cell number on there, so if you guys get a chance and you want to work with us, call us. We will work. Okay? Thanks for you guys' time tonight.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
The last form I have here is for Jeff Bruner, also in regards to Social Security bar.
My name is Jeff Pennell, 98704 North Bank, Checker River Road. We've witnessed all the things that everyone else has talked about. We've also witnessed the RVs back right up to the river and dump their tanks, right above where the water's cold, drinking water's cold. Multiple times we've taken pictures, we've sent videos of DSL. We're not getting anywhere. The drug use down there is out of hand. I've got probably 30 pictures on my phone of vehicles that have been down there so long that they broke all the glass out of them. The tires are missing. Someone parks the rig down there that's broke. The community thinks it's something to go beat up, right? I'm a fisherman, right? I fish the ocean, I fish the river. I have no issues with fishermen or the public being down there. We just need some help taking care of the people down there for the wrong reasons. I don't know if the gate's the answer. I think the gate would help. But some accountability, and I know you guys don't control it. I know it's a sheriff issue or a state police issue, but you guys own the entrance. So if we can maybe slow them down at the entrance or set some hard rules. We got guns going off below our house at night. At what point do we push back, right? If we go down there, who's going to lose in that, right? The homeowners, right? Because we went down there from 10. So we try not to push the boundaries, but we got to do something to escape that. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. We'll move on to G1, Brookings Airport Runway. We have the staff report.
Thank you, Mayor Pareto.
Oh,
We have
I'm sorry. Sorry, Tony. I'm sorry to cut you off. I skipped ahead. I missed an item. Thank you, Councilor Martin. We'll move on to consent calendar, item F. I did want to note, it says here that we are canceling the May 25th item for the council meeting, but we will be rescheduling that for later in the week. I believe May 27th is the day. So I just wanted to state that for public record and make sure that everybody knows that meeting will be moved that week. Is there any other comments or questions?
I'll move to approve the consent calendar.
Wait a second.
Call the question?
Counselor Martin.
Yes.
Counselor Bolton.
Yes.
Counselor Gelato.
Yes.
Counselor Mulder.
Yes.
Mayor Freda.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Okay, now we will move on to G1 Airport Brookings Runway. Thanks, Tony. Sorry about that.
That's all right. The city is completing a runway lighting and electrical improvements identified in the airport master plan. Once the new lighting is installed, the FAA must perform a commissioning flight inspection of the PAPIs, REAL, and MIRLs on runway 1230 before the system can be placed into service. The agreement requires advance payment before the inspection can be scheduled. Authorization will allow the city to proceed with the required inspection when the project is ready. The amount looks like it's estimated at $38,892, a little change. Our portion of this is $388. So, because there's 99% reimbursement from Department of Aviation, Oregon Department of Aviation. So if you have any questions, and Wendy's on as well, if you have any questions for her. She's the one who worked up this staff report and the agreement.
Just a question. It says that the Department of Aviation grant funding is anticipated to reimburse 99% of the cost. Is there some uncertainty about that, or?
There hasn't been in the past. I mean, I don't think they guarantee it, but we've had a couple projects we've done where they've paid that amount.
And then they won't fund the grant until after the inspection? Is that typical, or?
You might have to ask Wendy on the timing of each one of those.
Yeah, it's just the funding is already what they call programmed, so it's already been allocated. It's just Councilor Mullenberg, you might know, many steps before the final authorization of the grant funding. So, the likelihood of it not actually happening is about as close to zero as you could get. This is not an inspection we have any choice in the matter. It has to be done, and time is of the essence to get this on their schedule so that it is going to be ready for the flight when the construction is completed later this fall.
Thank you.
So this works more like a repayment grant. Is that correct?
Yes, all of our grants are reimbursement. So we use the funds in the capital fund to pay for projects, and then I have to submit the paperwork to get the reimbursements. So it's 95% on the federal side. We actually have two different funding sources on the federal side. So I've got 2 grants with them, and then the Oregon Department of Aviation picks up that 4% grant. So that is also pre-approved. The Oregon Department of Aviation grant will be finalized once the FAA grants are finalized, and our person that we work with at the FAA said everything looks good on the applications. It's just a matter of getting through all of the people on his end of the world that need to look at it.
And is this preceding the next topic, the lighting replacement project, or is it an inspection of the work done on the next project?
Yeah, it's going to happen after.
Okay.
It'd probably be better if they were flipped on the agenda, but it's fine.
Anyone else? Councilor Martin?
I don't have any questions.
No questions. Okay. Well, if there's no more questions, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to authorize the city manager to enter into an agreement with the FAA to perform the commissioning flight inspection of the PAPIs, REILs, and MIRLs. I don't know what any of those mean, but as installed.
Do you have a second?
Lighting, right?
I second the motion. Buried in here somewhere.
Call the question?
Counselor Bolton?
Yes.
Counselor Delana?
Yes.
Counselor Mulder?
Yes.
Counselor Martin?
Yes.
Mayor Frida?
Yes.
The motion carries.
We'll move on to item G2, Brookings Airport Runway Lighting Replacement Project.
All right, thank you. The design has been completed for the runway lighting replacement project, and we are ready to proceed with the construction phase. This work includes replacement of the runway medium intensity runway lighting, MIRL, system, replacing the existing precision approach path indicators, the PAPIs, lighted wind cone, airport rotating beacon, and airport electrical equipment, and installing a new runway end identifier lights, REAL. At each runway end, upon approval of tonight's meeting, and pending FAA and ODAV grant approval, the work is scheduled to be completed by December 30th, 2026. The engineer's estimate for this project was $715,640. We received 3 bids. Bid packages were examined by our consulting firm Century West. Lance and T3 were found to submit a complete bid package. Colvico submitted a bid package that did not address Addendum 1 and is determined to be non-responsive bid. Century West and city staff are recommending award the contract to T3 Electrical and Construction on the basis of the lowest cost bid at $511,194 and contractor qualifications provided in the bid documents. I will note that our match is actually 5,111 rather than the 511. We missed a number in there, so that represents 1%, and we'll be funding that out of the Capital Reserve Fund. And again, Wendy's on the phone if you have any questions, because she wrangled this project in.
No, even with the decimal point moved, it's an amazing example of the grants program paying for 99% of an airport update that's probably well needed, that it's going to cost the city relatively minimal.
Are there any concerns from staff on the engineer's estimate at $715,000 and the first 2 bids in line with that, and then the low bid substantially under that?
Century West, they weighed in on that and didn't seem to think that their bid was out of line. So I don't have any concerns. If Century West doesn't, then I don't.
I will say we've been talking about this project for a very long time, so I'm glad that we're finally getting to this point to be able to move it in a direction. It's been a long time.
Council member?
Nothing for me.
Questions? Okay. Well, is there a motion?
I authorize the city manager to enter into an agreement with T3 Electrical and Construction in the amount of $511,194.70 for the runway lighting replacement project at the Brookings Airport.
Second.
Call the question?
Counselor Delana?
Yes.
Counselor Mulder?
Yes.
Counselor Martin?
Yes.
Counselor Bolton?
Yes.
Mayor Frida?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Move on to item G3, 2025-26 street paving projects.
Thank you. The 2025-26 street paving program projects include street paving on Pioneer Road, Seacrest Lane, Glenwood Drive, and Fern Avenue. Alternative paving projects included in the bid received from Tidewater are the patching of utility cuts in various locations. Tidewater was a lone respondent. Their bid was $392,065. Of course, we fund this through our gas tax revenue. So with that, do you have any questions?
I know that this was the only bid, and I understand that they're local, so it's going to be cost effective to do it that way. I would still like to always see, even if it's from the outside of the area and a huge number, to be able to say, this is why we are staying here. But I get that we need to do it locally.
And we can't force people to respond, can we?
No, and honestly, I believe that the fact that there is only one bid on this kind of speaks to the fact that there aren't a lot of other people that are going to be able to compete, and so they probably didn't even bother. Luckily for us, they're local, they do a great job, and they provide a quality product. So we're fortunate to have them in this community, and we're glad to see them continue to do work for us.
Councilor Shalata?
I have no comments.
Councilor Martin? Okay. Do I have a motion?
I'll move to authorize the city manager to enter into an agreement with Tidewater Contractors, Inc. to pave various streets identified in the 2022 pavement management plan update.
My second?
Call the question?
Councilor Wallenberg.
Yes.
Councilor Martin.
Yes.
Councilor Foley.
Yes.
Councilor Jalapa.
Yes.
Mayor Prater.
Yes.
Motion carries.
We'll move on to item G4, adoption of updated master fee schedule.
Yes, Madam Mayor and Council, before you tonight is the updated master fee schedule. The last one that was presented and adopted by the council was on April 28, 2025. The 2026 master fee schedule, which is attachment Exhibit A, includes a cost of living or consumer price index of 2.2 on most items. There was some increase on a few park fees, primarily the Capella, and some things that were changing our process as far as deposits and so forth. We don't get into the weeds with that, but and there are some costs that may not increase annually because of the amount. I mean, if they're less than 50 cents, they might be increased every couple of years. And the council discussed the master fee schedule in a workshop on April 27th, and the consensus was to bring it forward tonight with the 2.2% increase.
I think we covered this pretty thoroughly on the 27th, but is there anybody that has further questions or comments? Do I have a motion?
I move to adopt Resolution 26R1291, updating the master fee schedule and repealing Resolution 25R1273, effective July 1st, 2026.
A second? I'll second. Call the question.
Councilor Martin. Councilor Martin.
Yes.
Councilor Foley.
Yes.
Councilor Jalapa.
Yes.
Councilor Wallenberg.
Yes.
Mayor Prater.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Next, we'll move on to item G5, First Amendment to Intergovernmental Agreement between Curry County and the City for School Resource Officer Services.
Yes, Madam Mayor and Council, before you tonight is the First Amendment to our IGA with Curry County, and in regards to funding our school resource officer. As some of you might remember, last year we were notified by the school superintendent there was going to be a bit of a budget shortfall, and they were wondering if they could reduce their 50-50 split with the city to perhaps a 37.5%, which left us a shortfall of 12.5% for the funding for the full-time school resource officer. The city had some discussions with the county in regards to the shortfall, and they were able to utilize the opioid money, and it was vetted by their attorney and ours as well to utilize the 12.5%. As those of you know, the SRO program has been an important partnership that enhances school safety, strengthens relationship between law enforcement students, provides a proactive presence focused on prevention and response. And this amendment also allows a built-in clause to where we don't have to put the specific amount every single time. It's just going to be 12.5%. That they will fund going forward with this, whatever the shortfall is. Our staff works with the school in bringing forth the actual cost. And there was a question earlier about what all the costs are involved with this funding. It, of course, covers the salary benefits and all the workers' comp insurance, and it also the uniforms, radio devices, insurance, and any other equipment that they might need, technology devices, training and education. So to have a school resource officer is closely to about $150,000. Now that's not salaries, that's everything out the door. And also, I was going to say this at the end of the meeting as an announcement, but Ray Branyan is stepping down as the SRO, and Patrolman Chris Donovan will be taking his place starting this fall, but in between, they're going to be working together and some job shadowing and so forth. Officer Donovan has gone to the necessary training to be a certified school resource officer, and we're really excited about that as well. So, but like I say, this is just the first amendment, bringing it forward, and appreciate the county stepping up and utilizing the funds to help pay for this very important position.
Thank you. Comments and questions?
Just really appreciative of the county for stepping up and chipping in on such an important thing for our school and our community.
Absolutely.
And I do know that the school district is very thankful as well. And we have been very thankful for Officer Ray to be within all of the buildings, bringing his expertise in. He's a great value, so even though we're going to be losing him, but we're looking forward to who we will receive. And safety is just so important these days. And so far, this officer position has done a really good job of making good relationships with students, which is really important as we kind of move forward in this world. So we as the district also really appreciate the county as well for stepping up and making sure this happens, and for the city to allow someone to do it. So.
Yeah, and I know with the My City program, we're getting ready to wrap that up. The kids at K School, when we do that, they all know Officer Ray. So he's, like I said, is building those relationships with those kids, which is, like I say, very important as they go throughout their career in school here. So.
Councilor Martin?
I just want to say I'm glad that we have this program with the school, and I'm also glad that city staff has found a way where the city's contribution of this remains only about 50%, and the school district and the county pay the remaining, because taxpayers in Brookings, are funding this. Half of the students at the school district or more live outside the city limits, so it's good for city taxpayers that we don't have to foot the entire bill for this, that people that benefit from the service outside the city limits are helping pay for it.
Councilor Gillette?
I have no comment. Yeah, he answered all my questions. It's an important program.
Yeah, so many of the things that I had to say have already been covered, and I saw firsthand when I was at my city day and I needed a student to call on, and Officer Branyan was there, and he was able to identify students by name. So that's huge, and that students have good, positive interactions with law enforcement is amazing. Our city residents also pay into county taxes as well, so they pay not only the county taxes like the county residents do, but city taxes in addition to that. So I'm grateful for the county working alongside, and we actually, former Mayor Hodges was the one that initially, I think, brought it up in our budget meetings, and rather than having to add additional costs to water bills, this was a way that we could fund that, and I'm grateful to all the county commissioners for their agreement and continued work with the city in this way. So if there's nothing further, then do I have a motion?
I authorize the city manager to execute the First Amendment to the intergovernmental agreement between Curry County and the city of Brookings for school resource officer services.
Do I have a second?
I second it.
Call the question?
Counselor Walton.
Yes.
Counselor Jalata.
Yes.
Counselor Mullen.
Yes.
Counselor Martin.
Yes.
Mayor Freda.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Okay. We will move on to item G6, wastewater collections phase 1 improvements contract.
Thank you, Mayor Pareda, members of the council. A little history here. In April 2022, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, Rural Development, which we've been calling USDA-RD, approved a just under $25 million loan and a almost $2.6 million grant to the city for wastewater system improvements. The city is contributing another $2,648,120 to this project, bringing the project total to just over $30 million. This may be the largest combined loan grant in the city's history. The proceeds will be used to complete various upgrades to the city's wastewater treatment plant, sewer collection system, connect the Brookings campus of Southwest Oregon Community College to the sewer system, and extend sewer service to Lone Ranch project area. The city originally applied for the funding almost 10 years ago. The term of the USD Rural Development Loan is 40 years at 2%. However, USD-RD does not directly fund the work. Interim financing is required. City staff explored alternatives for completed interim funding, and we went with the Department of Environmental Quality. And that application was approved also in September of 2022. In December of 2022, Council approved Dyer Task Order 104, which was the design phase of this work. Particularly, what we have in front of you today is for Phase 1. And I apologize, in my list, there are 2 projects in there that are not part of Phase 1, which is the Taylor Creek Pump Station and Highway 101 Force Main from Carpenterville to Parkview. Those will happen in Phase 2. But the others are in the list, and the others, if you look at the detailed bid tabulation, which I believe you guys received a link to all those documents, you'll see a breakdown of each different project that's included in this, which includes Wharf Street, a little bit of Pioneer Road, a little bit of Old County Road, First Street, Oak Street, and then a portion on Checo Avenue in front of McDonald's, down Pacific, and then on Railroad. That's essentially the list of projects that are in this bid. The City of Brookings solicited cost proposals for collection Phase 1 improvements through a formal request for proposal process in March 2026, and had one respondent, McLennan Excavation, Inc. McLennan participated in a mandatory pre-bid meeting. Dyer reviewed the bid received on April 30th, 2026, and summarized it in the bid tabulation below. And it's also sort of included, their reference letter is included also as an attachment. Dyer and city staff recommend awarding the contract to McLennan Excavation on the basis of the bid, contractor qualifications provided with the bid documents. The bid was at $6,635,000. I think the
engineer estimate was 7.2.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's not in here, but yeah, so it's under the engineer. That's two projects so far under, which is good. It's a good trend. I like that. So if you have any questions, the Dyer's award letter recommendation is attached. And if you have any questions about the project specifically.
And you may have already said this is Phase 1 of?
2.
Oh, just 2, okay.
Just 2 phases for the collections, yeah.
This one, I kind of have the opposite concern because it's a lot of money and only one bidder. You said you had a pre-bid meeting. How many people showed up to the pre-bid?
We had, I believe at the beginning of the proposal, I believe we had 9 different prime contractors. There were a couple that dropped out because they couldn't get information back in time for the bid process. But we don't know why the other ones bailed out. Maybe just couldn't compete with price. this is a local contractor. We get that a lot living here, local contractors who can mobilize and live here. Their costs are going to be a lot less. So it's not uncommon for this to happen.
Yeah, and McLennan does good work. It's
They
just,
do.
Yeah, it's like big dollar amount for only one bidder, so I'm
Yeah.
just kind of surprised that we didn't, have more interested parties. I'm glad to hear that we did have public outreach and a pre-bid, meeting, and gathered, at least did our best effort to try to promote competitive bidding as much as we could, but it's just surprising that we only got the one.
Yeah, we were a little bit surprised too, because I was happy when he told me he had 9 show up or express interest, and then had dwindled down to just 1. And I think, as Tony stated also, they said that there were some issues, and some of them said about, locating subcontractors and getting subcontractors down here. That's one of the things, as Councilmember Fulton had alluded to earlier with the paving. And we send out all over the state the bid notices, and we got 1 bid in for that. And same thing with this. We did I believe a regional outreach on this one and got 1 bid. So, which is great, because like I said, it did come under about $600,000 under the engineer estimate. So we were happy to see that as well. So, and we do have, if you wanted to allow any public comment, Leroy Blodgett's here. He works with South Coast Lumber, and he's here basically on behalf of the Lone Ranch with his, like I said, if there's any, I don't know if Leroy wants to say anything, or is that okay? If you,
I would be interested. Is council in agreement?
Yes.
Okay, please.
Good evening. My name is Leroy Blodgett, PO Box 7618, Brookings, Oregon. Here representing South Coast Lumber, Chinook Forest Products, and Eagle 2 Development on the Lone Ranch project. And I want to thank you for moving this project forward. This is essential for the Lone Ranch project. As you know, this is probably one of the biggest projects in the state right now. And we're in the engineering phase, permitting phase. We're out there doing some clearing right now. DSL has been out there. They'll be out there again next month and checking on wetlands and things of that sort. And then we'll be able to move forward, and hopefully by early spring, we'll be out there moving dirt and building streets. But without sewer and water, none of that happens. So we're really glad that this happened. I think McLennan is an excellent contractor, and glad that he got selected.
Really appreciate the update, and very, very supportive of the Lone Ranch Development Project. It really addresses a lot of our housing needs, and so reassuring to hear, the project moving forward, and that, moving aggressively forward, maybe even working on building streets come spring. So that's really good to hear.
Yeah, we'll move it as quick as we can move it.
I want to say thank you for being here. It means a great deal to me. This is a substantial amount of money that the city is committing to, and so I appreciate you being willing to step up and give that update publicly, and give us a little bit of peace of mind that the company has full plans to move forward. I very much appreciate that. So thank you for taking time to be here tonight. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Does anyone have further comments or questions? Is there a motion?
I'll move to authorize the city manager to execute a contract with McLennan Excavation, Inc. for the wastewater collection Phase 1 improvement project in the amount of $6,635,000.
I'll second.
Call the question?
Counselor Giuliano.
Yes.
Counselor Mulberg.
Yes.
Counselor Martin.
Yes.
Counselor Fulton.
Yes.
Mayor Freda.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Okay. That concludes item G. We'll move on to item H, informational non-action items. Does anyone have any comments or questions?
I have just a couple quick announcements I'd like to make. We would like to thank the following departments. As those who have, I'm sure, heard and smelled and saw, we had a huge industrial commercial fire a couple weeks ago here in town. And it took all hands on deck, not only with our staff and our volunteers, but we also had departments that included Smith River, Gold Beach, Harbor Fire District, and Crescent City all came out to help get that thing under control. And I'll just be real honest, when I pulled into the yard up there and saw it, I was having flashbacks in Siskiyou County. I was like, oh no, it got into the trees, and I thought this could get really ugly, but those guys did an excellent job. Chief Lee and Captain Walton did a heck of a job out there, and just glad we were able to get that done. Real quickly, we're going to have our first stakeholder meeting with the housing needs assessment. That's moving along quite quickly with Green Top, and also like to thank Tony and his crews out there. With the Bud Cross, with the park progression, it's going really well out there with all the renovations. He and Wendy teamed up, write up a grant, and looks really, really good. And last but not least, last week was Public Service Week, National Public Service Week, and I mentioned this a while back. We've got a pretty small crew here compared to a lot of cities out there. I think right now we've got 53 full-time employees. That includes fire, police, public works, community development, code enforcement, administration, finance, utility billing, but we're a small group, but we're really a tight-knit group, and I think it shows. And we're going to be losing one of ours here next month. We're losing a council member, and we're losing Lori Zemer, who's been here, taking her decades worth of experience with her, but we'll have an announcement. We're going to have a little retirement gathering for her. Been an integral part, as Tony can attest. It's going to be very difficult to replace, and again, with National Public Service Week, I can't go down a list and thank every single employee, but the departments that are there, and I've got a great crew of department heads that, like I said, keep the machine going and keep this, as you see, like every couple of weeks we have these council meetings, these guys work their tails off and getting this stuff to the council because they feel very passionate, like you do, and I do as well, on making our place a better place to live and work and play. So thank you.
Thank you. So we got a little bit of a head start there on before we continue on with that, did anybody have anything with age? Okay. Then we'll continue on with remarks from mayor, councilors, and you want to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
The Brookings Harbor School District is putting a bond on the next ballot for all the things that the school district would love to do. Instead, they are being very specific about what they're going to use those funds for, and that's for our infrastructure, for our kids' safety, security, ability to learn, not just in the next couple of years, but for the years down the road. We appreciate the community and all that they do to support the schools, and to tell you the truth, this part of the schools are in not very good shape. And when quite a bit of the money is going towards keeping teachers and staff here, then there doesn't leave much for actually trying to get the infrastructure fixed. There's no new building or anything like that. It's just trying to get what we already have done. So anyway, I encourage everyone to read into that as more information comes out.
Thank you. Councilor Martin, did you have any comments?
Yesterday there was a story in the Oregonian about tourism in Oregon and the tourism spending not keeping up with inflation. Basically, the number of visitors to Oregon not increasing much. And I think with that trend of less tourism coming to Oregon, and talk about the tax hits that the state's going to take and revenue drops and everything else, a pretty good story. I forwarded it to Ted, maybe you can forward it to everybody else. But in Brookings, we have the opportunity with the new formation of the TPAC, and I think it just tells us how important having real people involved in the business community and the tourism industry in Brookings involved in making decisions on tourism promotion that actually works. And some of the things that the state has been doing with going all in on Travel Oregon and some of these regional tourism boards, maybe it's not working like as anticipated. You know, obviously the numbers are down. So I think it's just a reminder that as we finish the budget, I think it's important to empower TPAC and the local volunteers who serve on it and give them a chance to do some real things to draw tourists here.
And I just quickly piggyback on that. I think we're up to 11 applicants for the TPAC for the 5 positions. So excited to see that.
Wonderful. I was just going to ask. Yep.
Have my work cut out.
We don't have to go do any recruiting.
I did want to chime in a little bit on that, Councilor Martin, and state that at the spring conference, there was a Oregon Coastal Mayor's Caucus meeting. So during that meeting, I had the opportunity to meet with a number of our mayors along the coast to include some of the big tourism hitters of Seaside, Newport, and Lincoln City. One interesting thing that came out of our discussion, especially from Lincoln City, is that they have seen no drop in bed tax at all. But what they have seen a drop in is food and beverage tax, because they actually have a separate food and beverage tax within their city. So the mayor's collective comments were that while they're not seeing necessarily a drop in people visiting the coast, they are seeing people maybe be more frugal in the way they spend their dollars. And that actually tracked because the weekend before we happened to spend 2 nights in Lincoln City, and it was a crew of 14 adults, 3 kids, and 4 dogs, and we elected to only eat out 1 night, and the rest of the time we prepared meals in our Airbnb. So take that for what it's worth. And then I'll continue on with a couple of things that I wanted to bring up. One was I neglected last meeting to thank the efforts of the staff and of Marilyn, I'm forgetting her last name, Hart, for the Elma Williams Day. I think she told me the last time they had it, there was only 6 people, and I would say there was between 15 and 20 that attended. And I didn't attend the viewing at the library, but the parking lot looked pretty packed, so it looked like it had a good attendance. And I think Elma Williams, to me, when I think about him and what he means to this community, he dedicated a lot of time and his personal resources to this community. Most notably, the Capella lives on in his name and is even contributing to city revenue. So I wanted to thank Marilyn for her efforts on keeping his memory alive and the memory specifically of what he contributed to our community. The next thing I wanted to mention is a word of thanks to Tony for bringing up last meeting the question to our city attorney as to whether or not, you know, a one-off approval of system development charges might hold some legal ramifications. And that really has made me think about the fact that I personally feel like we retain a city attorney so that when we have these discussions up here or when we put these meeting agendas out, if there are any legal concerns, that council would bring that to our attention. And I'm grateful Tony thought of that. I feel like I should have and I didn't. And so I'm really grateful he brought that up and asked the question. So all of that to say that I would like council to weigh in on direction for our city attorney, that if there's items in the agenda that cause her concern legally, or we have discussions up here that cause her concern legally, or things that we need to be thinking through, I would like to personally ask that she would chime in and not wait for us to ask those questions. And so I thought this would be an appropriate topic of conversation for the rest of the council to weigh in on.
I agree. Go ahead. No, I agree. If there's something that, that maybe we're not fully understanding, we have that, counsel there available to us. I really appreciate Lori being able to just join into the conversation and say, hey, guys, time out for a minute. Maybe you didn't think about this. I think that's valuable. I appreciate that.
Does she have the ability to, raise her hand in the chat room, or does she have to just chime in?
Can you hear me?
We can.
Okay, no, I appreciate that, Lord Mayor. I, just for history of my work with Brookings, the nature of it, then I would get acceptance, just because I think there was some concern about spending on the legal end of things. I would be more than happy to be more prepared, and I do look at your agendas for everything and try to do the things, just make sure I don't see anything that raises any attention or anything that but I appreciate that. I will be involved if you want me to do that. I will chime in more often if I see the need to do so.
Thank you.
Councilor Fulton? I think it would be wonderful. I know it's it's an expense to have her on there, so that's always something to keep into consideration. But at the same time, if that saves us costs down the road, and plus, I definitely want to be informed if there's a legal piece that's happening that I'm not aware of. I don't know everything, so or for whoever sits in the seat.
Councilor Martin?
Well, I think, I'm happy with the representation we have from the city attorney already, and I think staff has done an excellent job of monitoring our conversations here and, alerting us if there's something like if we're way off track or going down the wrong road. I think we've been fortunate it hasn't happened often, but I think staff has done their job and the city attorney has done her job.
I don't mean to indicate that nobody's not doing their jobs. I think if you don't set a clear expectation, then you can't just automatically know. So for me personally, I know many cities employ a full-time city attorney, and fortunately, we're able to not have that full expense, which we really can afford by contracting with one. And it would give me great peace of mind to know, staff recommendations are excellent and great, but they aren't legal counsel. And that's a different level of expertise. So it gives me a great deal of peace of mind to know that Lori would chime in wherever she sees a concern arise.
And if I might, and the great thing about Lori and her firm is if there's something that is a specialized law topic, she has resources there. We have Diana who does all of our labor, and they have other folks in there too. So we tap into those resources quite a bit behind the scenes too. So, and it's nice to have that at our disposal.
Yes.
Also, the rest of the council might not be aware, previously we had local private attorneys that represented the city, and I don't know, 7, 8 years ago, maybe less than that, the city went to this other law firm that specializes in representing local governments and cities, and we're fortunate that our city attorney used to be the city attorney for the city of Medford, so we have a very knowledgeable legal representative now that I think is quite a bit of a better caliber than having some local attorneys that don't specialize in this type of law, full time.
Thank you. The other thing I wanted to bring up is I know we talked about in our budget meeting the strategic plan, and because we have been discussing that as a council for quite an amount of time, I would like to see efforts move forward to get things in place so that as soon as the next budget cycle starts that we can proceed on and not delay that any further. I'd like us to start that process of the outside involvement July 1 if possible, or shortly thereafter. So just wanted to bring that up. And then after hearing so many concerns tonight about Social Security bar, and it's a hard situation because, as it's already been noted, there's many different jurisdictions that have pieces of that property, but I don't know what our part could be to solve the problem or have the conversation, but if that warrants a workshop discussion so that we can brainstorm and see what can we maybe do to help their quality of life, if at all possible, even if it's just clear signage, because I know the upper lot is all our property line and ends there, but I heard loud and clear that no one's trying to stop well-intended use, but have legitimate concerns of the way it's been treated. And I think we have very limited ability, but at least we can come to the table with thoughts and ideas and discussion.
Well, some more background on this. This issue got a lot worse when the county decided to lease the gravel bar. First, I urge all the council members to look at the state Supreme Court ruling that established the ownership of waterways in Oregon. And this was the gravel companies, and the state of Oregon had a major lawsuit to determine who owned the riverbed and the gravel, because prior to the state Supreme Court ruling, the gravel companies could remove gravel quite a bit up the gravel bar. And the state Supreme Court ruled that the state owns to the high water mark. When the county decided to lease the gravel bar, that took the state police jurisdiction away from that. So I talked to some officials at Oregon State Police in Salem, and then also they communicated with the lieutenant in Gold Beach. But previously, the state police would be responsible for patrolling that gravel bar, like Low Park and the beaches. When the county entered into a lease with the Division of State Lands for the gravel bar, that made the county responsible for those patrols.
Do you know what, does that agreement have an end date on it? Do you know?
I don't know why the county's leasing it, because they're not doing anything with it, so.
Well, that's kind of my question, like maybe that's a conversation to enter, and maybe for a workshop.
And we've had 2 workshops on this. When the county assumed that they had an agreement with the city of Brookings to lease the city's property there, they even asked our city manager for a copy of the lease, which there isn't a lease. You know, we never entered into a lease with the county. So they jumped the gun on it, and that's made this issue worse. But and the county can try to blame us for this, but there is property owners along the river are dealing with people that are breaking the law of being there past the curfew or the time that they're supposed to be there. But what jurisdiction is responsible for enforcing that law? And it's between the state police and the sheriff. And now it's more complicated with the county deciding to lease that land, which takes the state police out of the picture.
And if I may add, my 14 years here, we've workshopped this topic at least a dozen times. So, the center of it is put a gate up. The city is not interested in putting a gate up. I mean, lease it to the county, falls through. Develop it, falls through.
My pitch to the state police were that there's fish and wildlife that can be impacted by people driving fast on the gravel bar or setting fires or dumping something in the river. So that's the jurisdiction of the wildlife troopers, which are employed by the department, by the Oregon State Police. And so I talked to the person in charge of all the game wardens, like why are we not seeing this enforcement down there? So he looked into it, and the reason why was this lease between the county and the Division of State Lands.
Thank you for that. That's helpful context.
Talking about the cameras? Yeah. When Tony and I talked prior to the meeting, I believe it was scheduled this week. We got the Wi-Fi ability from, I believe, one of the neighbor, the local businesses there to be able to utilize that. So we are, I know, just got to bear with us, it's technology, but we're trying to just get folks to come out there and install it has been a challenge, but we are in the process. We have the cameras and we're moving forward with that. Just that way, it kind of like I said, it's amazing when you talk to most police departments, what security cameras, how much they can deter certain folks that don't want, people seeing, their misdeeds, on video. And we're hopeful that that's going to curb quite a bit of that. And at least if there is some stuff that happens down there that is, really bad, we'll be able to find out who these folks are. So.
Is the camera video at nighttime?
And just to add to that, this is a partnership between the county and the city. Again, there's a jurisdictional issue. You have video footage that you have to watch. It's not something that our staff has the time to do. So the county, I believe, has agreed to take on that role. We'll install the cameras since it's our property, and the calls will hopefully go to dispatch. And at least if there's camera footage of people coming and going, the video can be looked at a day or two later to determine who it was. And again, just the deterrent of having them up. But the cameras are high tech. Some of them we had to wait quite a while to get, but there'll be license plate reader cameras, night vision. They're pretty good. And there's multiple cameras to cover each other for vandalism. So, and again, we have a Wi-Fi connection that we have access to the cameras from anywhere remotely. So that's all of those things took time to get in place, install the poles. Of course, we had to clear vegetation. So it's been since I think a year ago when we talked about this very topic, we've been working on steps moving forward.
And I do believe once the word gets out, if there's some prosecutions that take place because of people doing stupid things out on the bar, I guarantee you that'll be a deterrent for others to be doing the same thing.
Do you remember? Go ahead. Do you remember what the argument against the gate was? You said the city was unwilling to.
I think Andy can answer to that question.
Well, there's several different uses of that gravel bar. It's the closest place to the city of Brookings where people, families will go up to go swimming in the river, or you can drive down the river or walk your dog. So who's responsible for opening and closing that gate? What happens if somebody gets locked behind that gate? Is the city of Brookings going to pay to send somebody up there to open and close that gate 7 days a week? The state of Oregon, they have a gate that potentially could be opened and closed at Lowe Park further upriver. For the most part, they leave that gate open. But, is the city going to be responsible for maintaining that gate? A word on the cameras. There's a lot of issues at the port that, by the cameras being there, the port's been able to address those a lot quicker and more effectively, and eliminate some of the persistent problems. Are gone since the cameras have been there. They were able to address that and take care of that.
I think it was a matter of public access more than anything, and also. I have heard tales of gates being put in California and people coming in and connecting to them and ripping them out. So that's unfortunate. That I know just north of town we have all those barricades that prevent you from pulling over and enjoying the view that were not there when I first moved to this community. So it's unfortunate when the actions of few cause problems for others, but. I appreciate staff updating on what's going on with that and providing those comments. Just so that people are aware and know that their concerns are heard.
And just for people, do we have an estimated date of cameras? Or is it still just in progress?
Well, we had it scheduled for install this week, but the person that's helping us do it had an emergency up in Salem. He works for an airport up there, so he had to stay, and he couldn't make it down this week. So we're hoping next week, if not the following week, sometime in the next few weeks.
Okay, thanks.
We have everything in place, so just.
I would hope that before we have another workshop, it sounds like it's happened 12 times or better. If the city could just kind of get us up to speed a little, like why we even own that, or why we're involved, and when the lease started, and just so we get caught up, so that we don't have to spend a whole workshop getting caught up. and focus a little bit more on the problem. It's unfortunate that it's come up so many times and we still haven't been able to find a solution between the county and the city and the state. So I'm committed to looking for that solution, but I want to make the time useful for everyone, and if we could spend a little background time just getting caught up to speed and focus on what we can do rather than spending a whole workshop just figuring out how we got here.
That's excellent input. Thank you for that.
We can send you past staff reports. There's a lot of history involved in that. There's conversations of all different directions.
Well, anything else?